The Go Radio Football Show with Scottish Gas. Watch live at 5 p.m. weekdays on YouTube. Join the conversation on 0808 17 17 700. Talking Scottish football first.
Good evening, Paul Cooney here with Barry Ferguson and Charlie Mulgrew. So Celtic and St Mirren joint top of the table after the first two games. And it's a Who hat-trick yesterday at Rugby Park. 5-1 for Celtic against Kilmarnock. Rangers, the last game of the weekend, but a 2-1 defeat to Hibs, the goal coming right at the end. And the controversy about the Hibs penalty. What do you think? 0808 17 17 700. In St Mirren, many people said they'll struggle this season. Well, joint top after that Killie Phillips goal. St Mirren 1, St Johnstone 0. Motherwell and Falkirk 0-0. Not too much to say about that one. But Hearts bounced right back 4-0 against Dundee United. And a big win for Dundee against Aberdeen. Meanwhile, in the Championship, Partick Thistle top of the table. 0808 17 17 700. Charlie, you'll be smiling after your old club at the weekend. Celtic, is that their best performance league-wise in what, 2 seasons?
They were brilliant, and it's a long way back for Rangers now, Paul, isn't it? 5 points. I know it's 2 games in, but they'll be disappointed with that gap opening up. Celtic were brilliant. I mean, who scores a hat-trick? And the one thing a striker needs is goals to get him going, give him the confidence. Missed a few last week. Steps up. Some of his movement and his hold-out of play was brilliant. Celtic really were firing on all cylinders. No, Killie tried to play a wee bit with the back and get caught out a couple of times, but take nothing away from Celtic. They absolutely dominated the game and could have been more than 5. They were brilliant. Rangers, disappointing again. They need to get moving quickly because you can't afford to start giving 5-point leads away this early.
Barry, it has 5 points in it for Rangers. They had so many chances, but it's the scoreline that everybody's talking about at the end. You were there. Mm-hmm. What do you feel?
Well, first and foremost, disappointed that you don't get a win at home, your first home game of the season. In the league, I thought the first half they were okay. Second half, yep, it was better. But going in the game, I thought the penalty, in my opinion, it wasn't a penalty, but anyway, I thought it spooked Rangers, if I'm being honest with you. Yep, the peppered Hibs goal in the second half. Got to give Hibs credit. I thought he defended brilliantly. But then you get that goal back 5 minutes before the end and you're thinking, right, go and kick on again and hopefully get that winner. But then Hibs breaking the counter and Rangers are a bit too wide open. And Hibs, yep, slight deflection, but poor goal to lose. And again, disappointing at this stage in the season to be 5 points behind the leaders.
Derek McInnes, who is really experienced, but he's now realising what is it like to be the manager at Rangers. 3 games, no win.
Yeah, it's tough. You could hear the reception after it. Look, when you hear him after the game, he's brutally honest. He understands he's going to be under pressure straight away. But that was a game that you want to get off. Certainly the first home game of the season, you want to get a win. And it never happened. But they need to get a win as quickly as possible, Paul. They've got another game coming up on Thursday in the Europa League. And they need to make sure they find a way to win this game. Thursday. Martin
O'Neill went to say hello to the players and give them a talk at the hotel, but didn't go to it. So Sean Maloney and the backroom team did well, and we'll hear from Sean Maloney, we'll hear from Derek McInnes as well. It was a complete performance.
It was. They were absolutely brilliant. I mean, the way they played through Kilmarnock. I know Kilmarnock tried to press at times, but Celtic, they were so clinical. A lot of things Celtic never done last year was take their chances early in games. Martin O'Neill jigged with the front 3 a lot last year, never really had a settled look to that. Bringing who in and him scoring early is so important that you score these goals early because you get 2 and 3, 1 and 2 early in the game. Kilmarnock then they have to come out and then you go and get 4 and 5 like Celtic did. They were brilliant. Martin O'Neill obviously relies heavily on his backroom staff as well. They do, it's a joint effort. Sean Maloney and the rest of them deserve a lot of credit. Martin O'Neill has a team talk in the hotel before it. It's all a joint effort, and Celtic are really firing at the moment and looking like a good side. Although there's going to be movement between now and the end of the window, but they're off to a great start and looking like they're going to win another title. But the looks of things just now,
a long way to go though. But 5 points after 2 weeks.
It's a long way to go, but it's not just the 5 point lead. I mean, if you look at the way the Celtic are playing compared to Rangers for me, not enough leaders, far too naive when they're attacking. They don't have a structure behind the ball that's preventing counter-attacks. Complete opposite to Celtic. They've got Carter Vickers, they've got McGregor, they've got Trusty, a triangle of players there that are preventing counter-attacks all the time. allows other players to go and be free, and they'll lead by speaking, using your voice, dragging players about, stopping the counter-attack before it happens. Rangers are conceding far too many goals to counter-attacks, and it's a lack of leadership for me through the spine of the team.
Barry?
Yeah, listen, certainly in the second half when you're peppering the Hibs goal, at some stage there's going to be a misplaced pass or something and they're going to try and hit you in a counter-attack, and you've got to be organised behind that attack. And I just think at times Rangers look a bit wide open. Derek spoke about it a couple of times. That's something that they certainly need to get better at defensively. If you look back at the European game on Thursday night, the 2 goals that they lose, that's not a Derek McInnes side for me. I thought they were a bit better defensively yesterday. But again, when you're attacking and trying to get that winning goal, you need to make sure you're rock solid behind that attack.
A Derek McInnes team in the past is he won't have experienced being in the front foot and spending a lot of time in another team's final third. Now, when that's the case, you then are susceptible to the counter-attack only if you don't lock a team in, and you need to lock them in by using your centre-halves and your midfielder in front to organise and to make a solid base in there. So it's no 3 players back doing nothing. It's creating an overload of maybe 1 player or going man for man and getting tight and be able to recycle attacks so you can win and have 2 and 3 and 4 attacks. Rangers now are ball watching, no sense in danger, and it's breaking. By the time they react, it's far too late and teams are breaking away on them. It's naive from Rangers, and that's a big reason why I think Celtic are much more assured when they're attacking. They've got a set up behind the ball. They understand that Callum McGregor plays a huge part in that. For 2 teams that are going to have a huge percentage of the ball, Celtic look much more secure against counter-attacks than Rangers.
You need an organiser, and that's something that I think Rangers at this moment in time are lacking. When you're on the attack, you're making sure you're pulling the full back in, you're making sure your 2 centre-backs are on the ball, and that's something at this moment in time I think Derek's looking at and thinking, I need to get somebody in that area who's going to be the organiser and dictator when they're attacking.
Andrew Kavanagh said today at the AGM there'll be 3 to 5 signings coming in. So is one of them going to be this organiser?
Listen, they're going to back the manager. They've been and they have backed the manager. If you look,
9 people.
I mean, you look back to January as well. They outlaid a few quid. They've certainly outlaid a few quid in the summer, and he's pretty open that they're going to let the manager go and spend. But it needs to be the right players, Paul. I want quality in rather than quantity. And I think it's important that Rangers do get the difference makers, but also when I'm looking at them, I think a real anchor in the middle of the pitch, somebody who's going to be a kind of dominant player, and a couple of defenders as well.
0808 17 17 700. We'll speak about Chermiti, of course. He got a nasty one, Barry. We're waiting to find out today what the scan says. Hopefully it's not too bad. They got an offer of how much? Nearly 20 million?
It was £20 million.
Wow.
Yeah. And how's your luck? But you obviously, he goes and plays the game and gets carried off. I knew he was going for a scan today, Paul. I'm sure we'll get the news maybe later on the night or certainly tomorrow. But it didn't look good, if I'm being honest with you. He left the stadium in a brace. And as I said, he was getting scanned today. And I'm sure we'll get the results later on.
This was Derek McInnes, frustrated at full time.
And what we get is loads of frustration. Nobody's as frustrated as I am, but it's my job to keep calm with the players. If they keep giving us that, what they gave us the last part of the game, we'll be fine. But we're still trying to get players up to speed. Some players come in different stages. We're still trying to get some new signings up to speed. We're still trying to get some new signings in the building. But we've got to try and do all that by still winning games at the same time. And today's a game where I would argue that we should have won and certainly shouldn't have lost.
Earlier on, Celtic won, of course, resounding win down at Kilmarnock. We're going in the lines in a moment. This was Maloney, who was in charge. Of course, Sean Maloney in charge with Martin O'Neill recovering after a few days in hospital.
Yeah, I think...
and he spoke about who?
Yeah, I think, look, we've seen him for months now, so you know the level of player he is and what he's done at his previous club and a really high level in the Champions League. So, I said before, it's the life of a striker. I think you're there, you score some, you miss some, and it was really good today. I think also, look, he scored a brilliant hat-trick, but he also... a big part of his game was when Kilmarnock went man for man. He had to be that. He had to hold it, and it's something the boss is really, really strong on. So it made a big difference. So his all-round game was really good, Casper. I thought our creativity in the final third was as good as I've seen it in a little while. So yeah, they did fine. Yeah.
First up tonight, Gary's on from the Gorbals. Hi, Gary. Good evening.
Evening, guys. How you doing?
All right, Gary.
How we doing,
Good,
Gary?
thank you. So, Gary, what do you make of it? You're a Celtic fan?
As good as Sunday as you could get as a football fan, as a Celtic fan especially. First up, as Charlie said, what was impressive about us yesterday was the fact that how we started the game. Started the game in the front foot, and I think the fact that we were a wee bit shaky after the first goal. Killie could have easily knocked in a couple of goals. Was worrying kind of thing. So I think we need to look at that and need to bring a few more bodies in. But after the second goal, after Casper Ho gets his second goal, then it was all one-way traffic and we dominated from start to finish. After that, I thought Casper Ho's performance is as good a 45 minutes as I've seen from any Celtic player in I don't know how long. It was that good, and it wasn't just being in the right place at the right time. Is obviously what we struggled with last season in terms of strikers. It was his kind of hold up play. The fact that he was coming in deep, he was pinging balls forward to Engels and Nygren. I thought that was excellent to see as well. He doesn't mind getting his hands dirty when needs be. I felt a wee bit for Duran in terms of I felt like Hugh could have been taken off maybe about 20 minutes to go and push Duran up front and just let him fill his boots, because I felt it was a wee bit frustrated. We obviously not hitting the target, and obviously seeing his fellow striker getting all the glory yesterday.
Charlie, what do you make of that?
Yeah, I think that I don't remember the last time. It must have been Adam Ida. I remember a performance at Kilmarnock where Celtic had a striker they could play direct to and go, because you need to have that option when teams press up high on you, and you take the risk out it by playing over the press and playing into your striker. Martin O'Neill's huge on. You always hear him. It doesn't speak about goals for striker. He speaks about getting hold of the ball, and that's so important because it gets your team up the pitch. Now, Hugh done that the other day, took the ball in, takes so much pressure. You can play direct to him. That allows you to. That makes teams think twice about pressing you and sending so many men into the press, because then they go, if they're going to play over us and take 4 and 5 men at the game, it's hard to run back the way than it is to press up forward. So he was massive in that and showed his weight in gold for being in the box at the right time and scoring the goal. So he's looking a right good signing. I mean, as I say, when's the last time? Last year, a lot of times when Celtic get pressed, Maeda wasn't the man you can play it forward to. We always attributes. It was everything in behind. He was a great presser of the ball. He ran in behind. He made good runs in behind. But holding the ball and coming short wasn't his strength. Celtic have missed that. And Hugh, whatever we call him, he's... I like the celebration as well. He looks like a good player.
He certainly... He looked...
What are we calling him? Hugh?
I know.
Hugh?
He certainly...
I
Doctor Who.
See, watching the game, he looked like a £11 million player.
Yeah.
And Monday, I thought he struggled a bit. But what that'll do for him, we getting that hat-trick yesterday, that's going to take a lot of weight off his shoulders. That's what you want as a striker. See, as soon as you come in, like, from a Rangers point of view, Lorne Shankland needs to get that first goal.
To say that.
Is when get a hat-trick and you'll see him now more relaxed. That's what you certainly need. Certainly when you come in with a price tag, £11 million.
What did you make of Engels and McGregor, the way they controlled the game?
Brilliant. Engels was brilliant. I mean, I don't think I appreciated him as a player up until the end of last season, and I started to say I wanted to see more goals and assists from him. But now, since the cup final, you're watch him closer, and I think it suits him better since Martin O'Neill's come back the second time. He's allowing him to drop in deep and become more of a number 6, and it suits him better to dictate the game. He can jump up and be a number 8 and be also attacking and get the goals, but he can dictate the game. His weight of pass, the way he sees the game, he's only 22 years old. He can be a top player.
I think there's still more to come for him.
I think so.
Yeah, I've always thought that he's not shown what he's capable of. And I think by having a player like Callum McGregor in there, obviously with his experience, it will certainly help him. But he was a standout yesterday.
I would love to see him stay for another year for a Champions League campaign and potentially get a move instead of going to the Championship to West Ham.
But money talk. If somebody's going to come in and pay 25 million, I think Celtic will do a deal like that.
I would love to see them hold off though, keep him for a Champions League campaign, and sell him next year to a big team. I think he would definitely earn that move.
Alistair Johnson as well. Gary played well. Obviously, he came off at half time as a precaution. Here's Sean Maloney.
Yeah, just a precaution. I hope we'll find out the next couple of days. So he was brilliant first half. So he just mentioned he felt something, and yeah, we didn't take any risks.
There's going to be signings at Celtic, though. Barry, have you been onto your contacts at West Ham and Forest saying up the ante?
He'll
for
be hard
Ingles?
to replace for Celtic.
Yeah.
Johnson.
Yeah.
He's been a real find. Obviously, had a bad injury last season, but he's going to be one, if he does leave, that Celtic will find hard to replace, because I think he's a very, very good right back.
Gary, have you seen the chat about Nick Pope? Of course, he'll be on the move. 34-year-old top keeper, has been. He's been a top keeper. Do you think he could be on the way to Celtic? I see Ipswich might be interested.
Yeah, I think if there's a choice between Ipswich and Celtic, then I think Nick Pope would probably prefer to come to Celtic, because he'd want to obviously become number one at whoever he goes to, whether it is Ipswich or Newcastle at Celtic. But I think the Champions League load would be too much for him to knock back if an offer came in for him. For me, I would rather go and get the Croatian boy from Palma.
Okay. Yeah.
I just think watching a lot of Nick Pope, I think, yeah, he's a great shot stopper at times, but I think he's got more mistakes in him than he's kind of ball control. He's got wee rush of bloods to the head as well, where he rushes out his goals and causes more errors than anything. So I would probably rather see us go for the Croatian boy, Horkas.
Gary's a resident
I seen him a couple
fan.
of weeks ago.
Right,
I was down. My son obviously moved to Gateshead, and they were playing Newcastle. Went down to watch it. He's an absolute unit. I couldn't believe the size of him. Close up, he's a big boy, Nick Pope.
Did you speak to him afterwards, Barry? Were you chatting to him, Nick Pope?
No, I was just watching the game, and then
yeah.
obviously the size of him when he was getting close, he was an absolute giant. I couldn't
The
believe
name would
size
suit,
of him.
wouldn't it?
Yeah. What's that? Who are Celtic going to bring in, guys? What do you think in the next few days? Because they'll have to, because Ingles will be away soon. You would imagine.
Yeah.
Will he stay for the Champions League qualifier with Lask, which is only just over a week away?
Yeah, I think that's maybe Celtic's think. I'd imagine, from my experience, I've been there and looking in, they'll try and keep their best players for that Champions League campaign and then sell them after. But then again, you just never know what bid's going to come in and when it's going to come in. But no, I would like to see Nick Pope coming. I think he's a right good keeper. I'd like to see him coming in, and I definitely think he would improve the squad.
Gary, what else are you thinking as a Celtic fan? Where do you want to see Celtic strengthen? Obviously, they're going to need a fullback, Alistair Johnson going, and somebody to replace Arnie Ingles, and more, some width.
Yeah, I think definitely down the left and right. Obviously, Joe, I don't quite know what's happening with him this season. But obviously, Sean Maloney gives a timeline of possibly October or November, but whether that happens, I'm not too sure. If we can get the boy Hassan in, I think he can play on it and off it, right or left, so that would be handy. It means obviously Camilo Duran can push up front, and we can try and go with a 3-5-2 hopefully. That will obviously be difficult, obviously, with that defence, just in terms of the right back. Then whether we go for Araujo, for me, I don't think Colby Donovan is I don't really get the hype about him. I know Charlie and Barry will probably disagree, but I think in terms of leaving Ralston and Donovan as your right backs and not bringing in a normal right back kind of thing, like an experienced right back, I think Yang as well. I think Yang's a good player for us, and I think he tries 100% every week. But for me, I think you need to be bringing in a wee bit better class out wide, and I think if you can bring in somebody wide right and wide left to complement Hugh and Duran, I think we'll be lethal this season.
Charlie?
The problem you've got, did you mention Gary going to a back three there?
Yeah.
Then you're looking at different profiles. Then you've not got wingers in your team, because if you go to a back three, you've got wing backs. Ralston and Donovan, I mean, they know the quality of Johnson, and that's where you would miss out on Johnson. Johnson's going to be a huge, as Barry said, a huge shoes to fill. So you'd imagine Celtic would look to bring in a right back of that quality, which isn't easy with somebody in their prime at that age. But I mean, they've in the past done well at getting players in. So yeah, I don't think they'll go to a back three. I don't think they will. I think.
Do you think, Charlie? Do you think we'll potentially play a 4-4-2? Because you're going to have to maybe, I think, bring Duran in as a proper out and out striker at some point. You know, you can't just have him out wide and coming in off as good as he has been for us so far.
I think they will stick with that, and I think that he'll be the next one to step up, similar to what Maeda done with Kyogo. Kyogo always started up there. Maeda played in the left, and then they would swap them in and out. I think you always need, and I think Martin will be first to say this, you always need as many, you're only as good as your strikers. You need 3 and 4 options up there, or 2 and 3 at least. People ready to start and play because there's so many games. So I think he will. I think he will look for more quality in the wide areas. Yang, I agree with you. I think he's a great worker, but he's not an out-and-out winger that creates loads of chances and assists. He works really hard. He's a great player to have in your squad, but probably need another bit of quality in the wide areas.
Kieran's on the line, a Celtic fan, saying, is there a danger 5 points clear already, Charlie? He says, I know you were sort of tongue-in-cheek earlier on, but it is 5 points that the board go, nothing to worry about here, and don't need to spend the way that the fans feel they will.
I don't think Martin will allow that to happen. Okay. That's be getting complacent. I think Martin will be straight with what he needs. He won't be fooled by the 5 points. He won't be getting carried away. Nothing like that at all. It was only a week ago where there was only a 1-0 narrow win at home to Dundee. So he'll know that there's tough games ahead, difficult games, and you need to be prepared. You need to be prepared for the best. Martin will be preparing a squad that's ready to go to Ibrox and try and win games. So no, Celtic need more players, and I don't think Martin will allow it. Let me get complacent.
Barry, because Rangers, we said earlier at the top of the programme, 3 to 5 more players to come in. So Andrew Kavanagh and the 49ers, they're not messing about with the money they're spending, but they must now want to see a return.
Yeah, you've got to start winning games of football as quickly as possible. Look, it's not been the ideal start, Paul, and there is a hell of a lot of work to be done. And Derek played the vast majority of his signings. Yeah. He's still, I agree, but still 3, 4, 5 players short, I believe. And as I said, I don't think you've got to be bringing them in just to build a big squad. These players that you're going to sign have to be starters. No squad players. Guys that are going to come in through the door and be ready to hit the ground running.
Gary, thanks so much for your call. 0808 17 17 700. on.
The Go Radio Football Show with Scottish Gas.
Paul Cooney, Barry Ferguson and Charlie Mulgrew. Loads of calls coming in after the weekend. Derek is on, big Rangers fan. Hi Derek, good evening.
Good evening, Paul. Good evening, panel.
How you doing,
Right,
Derek?
Derek.
How long, Barry, do you think Derek will be given to turn this around? Because I think, as we've known before, the board are very quick to pull the trigger if it's not going right. This is a worse start, Russell Martin.
Mm-hmm. Derek, see, to be honest with you, I think they're going to really back him. They've obviously went.
It's okay to back the manager, but if you're not bringing the quality in, Barry, you can sign 20 players.
Yep.
But if they're poor quality,
Yeah, I get you.
Believe for a minute. I don't believe for a minute somebody bid £20 million for that big buffer, which is Sharmata.
Mm-hmm.
It stretches Everton reserves because it's no Glasgow Rangers. He's a big buffer.
Yep. I think in terms of what have we got left? 3 weeks of the window. Yep. I think they're going to bring in between 3 and 5 players. I think then you've got to then start to judge Derek and his team. You can see there's still a lot of work to be done, Derek. I mean, yesterday, I don't know, were you at the game yesterday?
Yes, and I thought they were the first half. After the penalty, I thought they
spooked
were,
a wee bit, weren't they? I thought that myself.
Yes,
mm-hmm.
And I thought they were in. They didn't have 2 goals in them.
Yep.
Like I said, I don't know if you remember, Barry, about 18 months ago, I don't think Shankland will make it as a Rangers player. I hope I'm wrong, but I just don't think he's what Rangers required. I think he would score goals in teams that are attacking, but see when every man's back behind the ball and it's difficult, I don't think Shankland will do it. And if somebody did bid £20 million for Sharmata, they would have been better taking it and getting themselves a better quality striker. Because this is what I mean about the recruitment. Rangers have spent £11 million. Celtic spent something similar and a striker. And look at the difference in quality.
Mm-hmm. I said that earlier on. That's obviously Ho, or how you pronounce who. Yep. That's what you want. Coming in under pressure, straight away, get goals. So there's a lot of weight off his shoulders. You can see Lawrence is desperate to get that goal. He had a couple of opportunities yesterday, but to be fair to the Hibs defence, I thought it was really good defending. But yep, it's a different ball game at Rangers, Derek, because you know what it's like. Teams come, they sit 10 men behind the ball, they limit the space, and it's difficult. And that's where you need the difference makers in the final third, somebody to come up with that bit of quality. I just think Rangers are lacking at this moment in time.
Charlie, what do you see?
I've said this before as well. Shankland and Who's got 2 different scenarios because Who comes into a team that a winning team who've won the double. They've got leaders in there. Cal McGregor, who's the captain. Shankland's come in, he's a good goal scorer, but he's obviously he's a captain. He's carrying the weight of the captain of the club as well. It's a lot of responsibility for a new signing, especially a striker. Usually your captain would be coming for the midfield or the centre back area. Majority of the time, he's now a striker having to lead the line for Rangers, be the captain and take on that responsibility. And I don't think he's got a lot of help in terms of leadership in the team. I don't think there's enough leaders anywhere near enough leaders at Rangers.
I mean, I bumped into him yesterday before the game, and I was saying to him about it. And listen, you can see he's proud. It's different. There's a lot of responsibility, but I think he's a guy that I'll take it. You know what I mean? In his stride, he understands that he's been brought to do one thing and score goals. So he'll work his backside off to do that. But he does need help. Rangers do need players. Real leaders, characters, guys with big personalities. That's something that I think's lacking, and I'm sure Derek's trying to bring in as quickly as possible.
Because Rangers are massive compared to Hearts. Hearts is a big club. Rangers is an institution. I mean, there's no comparison.
No.
Exactly, 100% right, Paul. It's a different ball game.
And there's only one way to play in terms of Rangers and Celtic in the league, and you're on the front foot attacking teams in their half. And
but it's the set up behind, as we mentioned at the start, Charlie, when you're going and you're throwing everything, the kitchen sink at Hibs in the second half, the set up behind it needs to be spot on, because you know at some stage it might break down with a slack pass or whatever. You need to be organised, and that's something that I think will frustrate Derek.
And I think sometimes you're going to need to win games because it's so hard. Hibs defended brilliantly yesterday at times, so you might need to recognise early in the game we're not going to win this 3 and 4-0. So that's where your defence needs to be. Guarding against the counter-attack, snuffing out any 2 or 3 counter-attacks against, creating, recycling the ball so there's more attacks. And you might get away with that game 1-0 and you go, by the way, We've not been fluent there, but we won. Like Celtic done at home to Dundee, but Rangers just don't
You
seem
need
to
that
have that bit
discipline.
between that winning mentality.
See, in the middle of the pitch, you need somebody who's really disciplined behind the ball, who organises, and I think that's something that Rangers are lacking. And that's something that I'm sure Derek will try and bring in as quickly as possible.
At the AGM today, Andrew Kavanagh was asked about recruitment. What's happening? And he said the club is getting it wrong, not a single person. So he's not blaming one person. And Parag Marat, he urged supporters not to judge the players and the coaches on their first few games, saying the group is collectively trying to create something special. Jim Gillespie, the CEO, said that every department was reviewed after last season's failure. And he said no department or individual gets a free pass at Rangers. So there's a big focus on it, Barry, because you hear Derek, they're fed up. This is rinse and repeat year after year.
You can't keep spending a lot of money and listen, see, in terms of recruitment, for me, in my opinion, is the most important thing at a football club. You're never going to get every single player right, but you've got to get the vast majority. You've got to get a high percentage, Paul, when you're spending money. And to be fair to Andrew and the board of directors, they are putting the money there.
Do you think, looking at the signings so far, it's been the right bodies that have been brought in? I know it's early.
I would need to judge that in another 2 or 3 weeks.
Right.
Yeah.
You've got to. You've got. I know you don't get a lot of time at Rangers, and listen, Derek, I'll understand that more than anybody. But the signings need to hit the ground running as quickly as possible.
Macanya, how did he do for you?
I thought he done. I don't know. Is Derek still on the line?
Yep, Derek.
I thought he done pretty well yesterday. What did you think, Derek?
I thought, yes, he done really well. But we've seen that with Ant-Man in the first few games.
Yep,
Barry,
you're
you've got
right.
to do that at a consistent level over 13, 40 games at Rangers a season. I don't understand why Asgard wasn't brought on sooner as well. I don't understand why he maybe didn't start the game.
Yep. I thought he would have come on when Chinmeat went off.
Rangers need a Mark Hateley type player, a Adam Ida, somebody that you can just throw the ball back to front or get to the byline and flip it across. Like, they've not got a big, tall, 6'6", powerful striker that can bully people. And I think Rangers have been missing that for years.
I think they might need to go in. I think, Derek, they might need to go into the market in terms of what Chinmeat, we don't know in terms of his injury, but if he's going about long term, as you said, you need 3/4 strikers if you want to try and be able to win trophies and challenge.
Why is Miofsky not getting a game?
I don't know. Miofsky must have played under Derek at Aberdeen, did he?
Yeah.
No, he didn't.
Just came in after that,
Jim
didn't he?
Goodwin
Gone
signed
by then.
Miofsky.
Jim Goodwin.
Alex is on a Rangers fan saying, I completely agree with Derek. Chermiti, take the money. I mean,
100%.
okay, it's 24 hours too late now, and that can happen.
If
but
that bid came in on Friday, I would have wrapped him up in cotton wool and no played him and let him go that afternoon. That's how I see Chinmeat.
Yeah.
I mean, he's young and he's scored some good goals at Rangers, but I don't see him being somebody where.
If that's the price, Charlie, I think that's a good bit of business. If you brought him in
100%.
for what, 10, 11 million £11 you're doubling your money.
Yokota, he did well, didn't he, Derek? Sorry. Derek, Yokota, the Japanese player. I think we've lost him. What did you think?
Yep. Looks a positive player. He'll go and attack the full pack again. I thought he actually done well in the first half in Europe on Thursday night. I was surprised whether, I don't know if that's tiredness, Paul, or Derek just making a change. But again, yesterday, he did. He was one of the plus points for me.
Derek, have we lost you? I think he's gone. So Paul's on, Rangers fan, 0808 17 17 700. Hi, Paul. Good evening.
Evening, Paul. Evening, guys.
All right,
Thanks
Paul.
for having me on tonight.
I think I heard you in 5 Live last night as well. You were on with Robbie Sabish and Chris Sutton. But you're on with the top two tonight, Charlie Mulgrew and Barry Ferguson. So, what...
This has always been the number one show for me, Paul.
Thank you,
Always
good
has.
man. It's the only one you ever wanted to play for, exactly. Next up, Mo Johnson. Paul, how do you take it forward today? What do you think?
Look, I was on here, I was on Friday and I was saying to Barry, and I'm more into point score, but I seen it coming because I go to all the games and I'm round about Rangers fans all the time in the stadium, and they're all saying the same thing. It's not just coming from me, but no, you're getting a right back playing with a Serbian midfielder who was the captain, Patterson Belgrade. You've got Ross McCrory on the bench. You've got Sterling on the bench. Two natural right backs. I don't understand that. and I just think we're quite pedestrian. I really do. It takes. It's like watching previous regimes, but we're so. It takes forever to get the ball up. Honestly, and I know I looked at stats and we're kind of even with what Celtic did against Kilmarnock, believe it or not, but it didn't feel like that. It felt like a work to watch it, and honestly, to score goals. You've got Shankland up there. I mean, I've seen Shankland jogging back into the box, and it was frustrating. And I don't know. I get frustrated because I don't see, as I said on Friday, I don't see an identity. I know Barry disagrees with me about the coaching side of things, but we don't look coached. That's just my opinion. Well, an opinion say other people are sitting beside, and we're all just frustrated. I back Derek, and I know he's got Rangers at heart and everything else, but no, you mentioned that previous radio station, Paul. I'd mentioned to them about Graham Souness. I think Graham Souness echoes what a lot of Rangers fans think. Go back to basics. Celtic have done it with Martin O'Neill. No, they're roughly about the same age. I'm not saying Souness is a manager, but I would like Souness to be in there as the football brains behind Rangers. He knows the club. He was there through a period of success. Yeah. And it's our last kind of legendary status, if you want to say that we can bring back into Rangers in some sort of capacity. And I'd love it if he could be the kind of conduit between the recruitment team and Derek, and maybe be a kind of mentor as well.
But what would that say about Derek McInnes then? Barry, what do you feel?
I think it's been spoken about in the last couple of years. I'm sure
it was.
I'm sure Graham Souness had a meeting with the hierarchy. I don't know how that went. I'm not privy to what went on behind the scenes. But in terms of the game, I'm looking at the game. See the last 20 minutes where the energy went up a bit and then they started to pepper Hibs goal. I'm sure Paul will agree here. I want to see that for the get-go.
Aye.
I want to see that for the first
minute.
Like
Barry.
Yep.
I want to see it from the first minute all the way through.
Aye, Paul, you heard Derek's interview. That's more like it the last 20 minutes, but you have to do that at the start. The energy
level. Celtic do, Barry? Celtic blow teams away. They blew Kilmarnock away in the first half. They do that all the time.
I just thought as well, Paul,
one goal
when we got the penalty against us, which again, I'm not just saying it because it's Rangers. It's not a penalty.
No, I agree.
It's not a penalty. I don't care what anybody says.
Charlie, do you agree?
Well, Rangers need to challenge that, Barry.
Yep.
See the next time that happens in a game, and I'm not just saying it against Celtic where it happens with Hearts, Hibs, whatever. Rangers 49ers and Andrew Carver need to be continually.
I think it came up today
highlighting
at the AGM.
Yep.
Charlie,
but see in terms of in terms of the penalty, when Hibs obviously score the penalty, look a bit spooked. That's where you need the leaders. Hey, listen,
it's
only
so
12
early
minutes went.
Exactly.
You've still got a long way to go.
You're at home.
Calm down. All right, the fans are not happy, but that's where you need to stand out, puff your chest out, and say, right, go on, give me the ball, go and dictate. That's what we need. We need players, and I'm sure Derek will be desperate to bring these sort of players in as quickly as possible.
My opinion on the penalty is it should never have went to VAR. So it should, because I don't think if it goes, we don't want every single instant going to VAR. That's particularly not that instant. If that's every corner goes to VAR, there'll be a penalty every corner.
Charlie, why is VAR getting involved there?
They shouldn't. But then the minute they do get involved, I feel a bit for the ref, because then they've asked him to go and have a look, and then he needs to look at the still pictures, needs to look at the image and go by the rules. The rules of the game are the Rangers player, I can't pronounce his name. He's been naive the way he took his eye off the ball and he just ran straight towards the player for a couple of seconds and grabbed his jersey. The ref needs to make a decision based on that.
Charlie, we're going to get a penalty or 3 penalties every single game if that's the case.
That's why I think they should never have went and looked at the VAR in the room. Should have went, play on, there's nothing to see here, because nobody even knew.
I don't know about you, Paul. I'm sitting watching the game and I'm thinking, why is that going to VAR? I'm thinking, what's going on here?
They shouldn't go to VAR.
And then obviously somebody beside me showed the phone and obviously watched the replay, and I'm thinking to myself, you know what, football's gone if you're going to give penalties for that.
If they start at that this early in the season, you're looking, there's trouble now, because
100%.
Any pulling the jersey now needs to be a penalty. And
you were a defender, right? Yeah. I think defending's an art, right? If you watch the top defenders, sometimes they don't look at the ball. They concentrate on where their opponent is.
What did you tell me about the Italian way of defending?
That's the way they defend the Italians. So if they're going to give penalties for that, I think we're going to be in for a long season in terms of penalties. You're going to see 2 or 3 penalties each game.
And long games, it'll be 110 minutes and things. Here's what your manager said at full time. He was asked a message to the fans. Obviously, 3 games, 2 of them in the league, no wins so far.
No, listen, I'm not asking for more time. I understand the frustration. I share the frustration. It's 15 years of frustration here at this club, right? Nobody knows that more than me. One title win, the fans didn't even get to see the title win. So we're a byproduct. Every Rangers team is a byproduct of that frustration. So the Rangers fans just want to see their team winning, and so they are. And we will get there. It's not been the start that we wanted, but we will get the outcome that we're going to get. And we have to work hard and stick together in the dressing room. But do I expect it to be any different than what we got today? No, until we start winning. So I'm fine with that. I'm not going to ask the fans for more patience, because I think the Rangers fans have been patient enough. So it's up to us to give them a winning team more often than not, and we will get there. We could do with some help, and we're working hard to try and get some bodies in, and we could do with a wee bit more luck than we got today, certainly. But it's not been the start we wanted, but we still intend to have the same outcome.
I think he sums it up pretty well. He understands the situation they're in. They need to start winning games of football. But in me, he's confident. He's up for the fight. Let's see how the window goes in the next couple of weeks, because I think it's going to be a big window for Rangers. They certainly need the right types in, and then I think you can start to judge Derek's team.
Wait for the next 3 weeks, and
but they
then
need to
see.
start
Sure.
Thursday night.
Yeah.
I mean, I said it on Friday night to you.
Jagalonia. Yeah.
Aye, but I'm talking about on Friday night.
Yeah.
I was saying they've got to get 3 points against Hibs. Look, it's no word. It's no, for whatever reason. I wanted to see what they've done in the last 20 minutes. I want to see that the full game. But now Thursday's huge.
Paul, you'll be there on Thursday night?
Yeah, no, I'll be always back in the team, Paul. So, look, as I said, Derek does need to. I mean, but it's the kind of in between. It's the recruitment's not going to go away, Paul. I think people are just scunnered with it year in, year out. And Derek's right when he says it about 15 years, but how much player turnover has been in that time, and how many have been good enough to wear a jersey? But can I ask one last question?
Go
Paul?
on, quick one.
Just very last question. Do you think it's a problem, Barry and Charlie, from your perspective, that because we haven't hit the heights and won titles and been in the Champions League and all that type of stuff for a long period of time, like Celtic have been, right? Do you think that's making it harder for us to attract top quality players? Do you think that's what it is? Because I'm kind of don't understand now, to be honest.
There's just a certain market, Paul, but you've got to be wary. Like, you know what the money's like down south, and even in different leagues. That's the problem. You've got to shop a certain market. I don't think you're going to attract top quality players. I think you're going to get good players, but money talks, and there's a lot more richer leagues than ourselves.
And I think apart from that as well, the reality is when a player's coming to Scotland in that wage bracket or at that level, he gets offered to Celtic and to Rangers by his agent. Because if Rangers show an interest in a player, let's not kid ourselves on here, the agent phones Celtic and says Rangers are interested in this player and tries to get the best deal he can for the player. And right now, if you're a player that's got no allegiances to Celtic or Rangers or anything like that, and you come from the outside, you're thinking, right, well, who's most likely to be in the Champions League and win games? And right now, the proof would be the last 10, 15 years it's Celtic. So that will be going against Rangers, but it's up to Rangers to bring in the players and to do what's right for the club and turn that around, and that's what happens. I mean, Celtic went through that phase in the 90s. It's a horrible time for the club, and they managed to turn it. So it's up to Rangers to do that. It's a bad time for them at the moment, but still early days in this season, and they still should have aspirations, of course, to try and win the league.
Paul, I was going to. Where do you think needs strengthened in the Rangers team after watching these first 3 games?
I think definitely wingers. I think we're packed in midfield. Derek's got great selection in there. To me, it's the defence, Barry, the wingers, and I think that's it. Maybe a striker.
I know we're top heavy for midfielders, but I still I look at it and I want somebody in there who's a real.
I'd like a Steve Davis character, Barry.
What would you like,
Davis
Barry? Okay, what were you saying?
Somebody who has got a bit of know-how, somebody who's got a bit of personality about them. I just somebody in there that's, as I said, is going to anchor in the middle of the pitch.
It looks as though the deal has been done for the PSV winger. Looks as though it's done. It's not confirmed yet. £6.5 million deal for Kuhaib Driech. More on that. Thanks, Paul, for the call. Back in a moment.
Thanks.
thing.
The Go Radio Football Show with Scottish Gas.
Loads of calls coming in tonight, as you would expect after a weekend where Rangers lose, Celtic win in style. But only 2 games gone so far. Barry in the first section saying, hey, let's wait till the end of the window. Rangers do need to start winning, but it's just such a massive job. I was just listening to what you were saying, and you think for the captain, Lawrence Shankland, is a terrific player. But to be captain at Rangers and trying to pull all this together, Barry, you know what it was like being captain at Rangers.
It's a lot of responsibility, and it's not just about what you do on the park. There's a lot of off the park things you need to deal with. He's been a captain, obviously. I thought he'd done a brilliant job at Hearts as captain, but it's a different ball game.
Yeah,
me at Rangers. But listen, I've got every. I believe that he will be a good Rangers captain, Lawrence Shankland.
See when I signed for Celtic for Aberdeen, I remember I put myself in Lawrence Shankland's shoes in terms of what that feels like to step into a team that you've supported growing up and who's a big step up for Hearts. I stepped up for Aberdeen, similar thing to Celtic. If somebody had handed me the captaincy 2 or 3 days into pre-season or a couple of weeks in, I wouldn't have been comfortable with that, Paul.
Really? Yeah.
Even though I later in my career managed to captain a few times, whatever, but it was a big enough task for me to come back and play for a club the size of Celtic and deal with that pressure. Never mind leading the line and being relied on to score goals and being the captain. It's a big ask, and it would take a strong character to deal with that.
Genuinely, when things are not going well or you suffer a defeat, it's the manager and the captain that get it.
Yeah.
But listen, I'm afraid that's always been the same at Rangers. And look, Derek's obviously been a Rangers player and he's an experienced manager. He understands it, he gets it. And I'm sure Lawrence will grow on to be a right good Rangers captain. As I said to you, I spoke to him before the game.
How was he?
Yeah, he was. Look, this might sound daft. Sometimes I think maybe he's trying too hard. Where he just needs to
so
relax. He's desperate. Listen, it's his dream. Listen, I said it. It's a year or two too late, in my opinion, but he's eventually got to Rangers. He deserved to be at Rangers, and I've got every faith that he'll be a good Rangers goal scorer and a good captain.
In his defence, Derek McInnes' defence, I don't think there was any other standout candidates. You could potentially, maybe people put a case up for Raskin, but then is he somebody that Derek McInnes can hang his hat on and is going to be there and is going to lead by example as a player? No, so you can understand that Shankland's...
He took his time, but because obviously in a few of the games, Lawrence got a go, Dan Neil got a go, Godfrey, and he's obviously in Dujon Sterling, so he's obviously had a look at them, but he's worked with Lawrence before. He knows how he operates a dressing room, and that's probably the biggest reason why he got the job.
Barry, what do you make of it? Sky, The Sun, the records are all saying Kuhaib, Drioech, the deal's pretty much done. A few years.
The only thing I don't like
million.
about it is he was left out the PSV team at the weekend because of lack of fitness. I need players that are coming in that are ready to, as I mentioned earlier on in the show, Paul, hit the ground running. I don't know too much about him. Look, I done a wee bit of research the day when I knew it was going to be a close deal where Rangers were going to get it over the line. Yep, he's one of the players that Rangers need, wide player. Guy that can hopefully go and deliver something different in the final third, because I'm a big believer in you need as many good ones in the final third who are going to be the difference makers. They're the guys that win you games of football. Like, for instance, yesterday, somebody come up with a wee bit of magic when Hibs are really deep and you find it hard to get through. Somebody who can go and dribble and beat 2 or 3 players. And on paper, looks a good player, but listen, it's a different ball game when you come. PSV, albeit it's a big club, but it's nothing like Rangers. He's going to be under pressure right away, because £7 million is a lot of money to spend.
Ironic at Rugby Park, isn't it, that who said at the weekend after the Dundee game, I like a plastic pitch. So he goes down to Rugby Park, and at last, after all those years, it's a magnificent grass pitch, and he scores a hat trick.
A bowling green,
wasn't it?
So much better to watch.
It always used to be a great pitch.
I don't know. Did you play at Rugby Park when it was grass?
Yeah.
I used to love going down to Rugby Park. I always thought it was always a good pitch.
Yeah. It was good. It was even better to watch the game just being on grass. That everything moved a lot quicker.
Do you think that will hinder Kilmarnock this year?
Yeah.
Do you think that was a big help?
I think it helped. Definitely games like that against Celtic and Rangers where the ball slows down when it moves and it's harder to beat. I'm no surprised that Celtic go there when it's grass and play that free-flowing football and score the goals.
Good question. Good question about the pitch. Good one, Barry. See,
Yeah, but it's, I mean, listen, I wouldn't have liked to play in 3G
No.
artificial.
Yeah.
I just don't like it. I'm a big believer in top level football should be played in grass. It's a tough start for Neil and Dodgy, but I don't think they'll have any problems.
fine.
But I'm sure he'll try and make a few more signings, and they'll be totally fine this year, Kilmarnock.
Here's Sean Maloney after the 5-1 win.
Yeah, no, that was really pleasing. I loved us without the ball. So the mentality to really try and stop Kilmarnock, and it was hard. Sometimes we didn't get it right with when they built up. They had a lot inside, a lot of players inside. We didn't get it right all the time, but the mentality to go and press, run back. I thought the back four were brilliant, really, really good. Goalkeeper had to make a big save at 1-0, and then we just, we were really good in the final third. So we set a bar now, and we have to sort of keep trying to get there.
Charlie, we've seen the Martin O'Neill, Sean Maloney influence, because Martin O'Neill said last week, I don't want to see the ball going played back all the time, get it forward.
Yeah, and I think that's because Kilmarnock went on to press. So to take people at the press to play forward makes sense. So it's suited perfectly because it goes into who he keeps the ball, holds it up and gets your team up the pitch, like we said. They were brilliant off the ball because Kilmarnock tried to play for the back. So that gives you a chance to see what your setup is off the ball, because a lot of teams in Scotland don't play that way. They play direct quickly, so you don't get a chance to see how good your press is. Celtic's press was good yesterday for large periods of the game. And Kilmarnock managed to play through a couple of times. Fair play to them, showing bravery to play, but ultimately made a few mistakes. The Celtic go and score and punish them.
It's just as important. See, without the ball, a lot of people just think with the ball you've got to go and create and play good stuff. But see, when you've not got the ball, it's your setup. That's you heard Sean Maloney say there. It's obviously something that they've worked on. And that's, as I say to a lot of people, it's just as important as having the ball.
A little bit more from the assistant coach, Sean Maloney.
Probably mentality. I think we started the game the exact opposite of how we did the Dundee home game. So, and then we never really came off it. Yeah, they were really good today, the team.
Barry, they did look like defending champions yesterday, didn't they? He's saying about mentality. Celtic, it was working.
Yep. Well, that changed because we've spoke about two players who clubs are desperate to sign, Johnson and Engels, who I think are two big players for Celtic. But look, they look really comfortable yesterday. No doubt, I think Carter Vickers makes a huge difference to Celtic. I think if you look at, for instance, Trusty, he looks more comfortable beside him. So he's albeit you're talking about the new signings, I've spent a lot of money. Getting a guy like Carter Vickers back and fit is just as important.
Yeah, when you compare like Carter Vickers with Fernandes and then through the spine of your team and you go with Devlin with Callum McGregor, you're talking about two different gulfs in class there for me in terms of leaders, organisation, defending, doing your job and leading the team.
All right, hold that. We'll talk about it in 2 minutes, just after the news, which is next.
The Go Radio Football Show with Scottish Gas. Watch live at 5 p.m. weekdays on YouTube. Join the conversation on 0808 17 17 700. Talking Scottish football first.
Hour 2, Paul Cooney with Charlie Mulgrew and Barry Ferguson. 0808 17 17 700. What a week. It's as if it's never been away, isn't it? The football season, almost seamless into the new season. But Rangers fans, I was just watching some of the footage from the AGM when they came out, and most of them in the Vox Pops there are saying, look, they're still spending money, got to get it right, it's early days, not happy the way it's been, but you've got to give the whole set-up time. But they won't get that much time, will they? Because it's been so poor for so long, Barry.
Yeah, look, I think that there's just a bit of frustration. I think if you look at Derek, for instance, when he's been doing his interviews, you can see that he's clearly frustrated. You've got to give it time. There's a lot of new players coming in, and as I say, there's going to be another 3, 4, 5 ones coming through the door in the next couple of weeks. But I do think the squad's a bit top heavy. Some will need to go. Because Rami's away at the Middle East, Danilo's away back to Brazil, but that's only loans. So yep, there's still a fair bit of work to go. But one thing about the Rangers fans, albeit they are frustrated, they will get right behind the team and the manager.
Nico Raskin, any words about him? Because you got the feeling he would go, but he's been involved in the last couple
again,
of games.
Done himself no harm in Rangers, no harm with his performance levels for Belgium in the World Cup. I thought he was really good. I watched him a number of times, but it's went kind of quiet the last week or two. He's obviously come on in the second half on Thursday. I thought he made a difference. He played yesterday. We just need to wait and see, Paul. I'm a big believer in, listen, it's common knowledge that every player has a price.
Yeah, sure.
And I think if somebody meets that valuation, Rangers would have to look at it.
I just wonder if the hesitation with Raskin has been, I know I thought he was older last week and he wasn't, so I just wonder if the hesitation is, what position is he? Is he a number 6 that sits there and dictates the game and breaks play up? I know you like him further forward, but is he an out 8 where he can go and attack? Is he a 10 or is he just a kind of mix of everything?
He has a mix of everything. I prefer him that bit further forward. I think you get more out of him. He's a goal threat as well, as you've seen. He can score goals. I just like him that further up the pitch where he can do a bit more damage going forward. That's where I prefer him. But when he plays with Belgium, he does play in that number 6 position.
Charlie, just before the news, you were asking, what you were saying, the midfield, you were comparing Callum McGregor, Engels. Okay, Engels will probably go. Cammy Devlin at Rangers.
Well, if you look at that, if you look at the centre halves and the 2 midfielders at Celtic and at Rangers, Celtic have got a lot more leadership and experience and sort of defensive know-how and organisation of the ball, and I think that's a huge part. I know I keep saying it. Fernandes and Carter Vickers, there's no competition there for me. Fernandes has got potential, but Carter Vickers has proven he can do it. He can lead. You've got Callum McGregor in front there, who's worth his weight in gold. We've spoken about many a time. Dragged Celtic through last year at times with his leadership, and that's where Rangers are lacking massively. So it's glaringly obvious for me right through the spine of the team, although they've got Shankland in there now. Rangers, Celtic have got a lot more experienced leaders and people that can drag people about and organise, and they don't look anywhere near as vulnerable in the counter-attack as Rangers do.
One of the leaders was Godfrey, but he's injured. He's going to be out for 4 or 5 weeks, which is no ideal. Watching Matt Hanya, is that how you pronounce it?
Played yesterday.
Again, I thought he was good. But Rangers had a lot of the ball. I like to see defenders under pressure at times to see how he handles it. But so far, so good. He looked pretty well yesterday. Fernandes has not had a great start to the season. But one thing I will say about yesterday, the manager's obviously had a chat with him. He wasn't taking any chances yesterday. I don't want my defenders to take chances. I want them to defend first and foremost. And that's something that Rangers need to get better at.
This is Derek McInnes speaking about the game, and it's quite a summary from the manager.
Disappointing result. Thought we were deserving a better. I didn't think we were brilliant, but I do think a lot of things transpired against us. I know people will say it's a lot worse than what it was because the outcome isn't great, and we get that, we accept that. But in the cold light of day, if you analyse the game, we were the better team. I thought the decision to give a penalty kick was wrong. Having seen it back again, I think it's so soft and so harsh on us. I think we've got to come then from behind, but luckily we've still got plenty of the game to do that. And I thought we huffed and puffed first half. I thought the penalty rocked us back, set us back. I think Yusuf going off wasn't ideal as well, and we'll probably come on to that one. I think you've got to compliment Hibs in the sense that they came and they sat off us that shape. I just thought we were a wee bit pedestrian, a wee bit reluctant to try and break lines a bit quicker and try and be a wee bit more positive. And we played a bit safer than I would have hoped in the first half. The spare area, the spare man in the pitch a lot of times was Vanya, and obviously he'd been booked. And we tried Finlay on that side just to double up with Daisuke on that right-hand side. You have to say it didn't work totally. And then Finlay had a stomach bug and has to come off. He was feeling that. He was saying he felt sick. But trying Finlay there, we were trying to be positive with that change. But you have to say it didn't quite work. I mean, I thought the last 25 minutes of the game, half an hour of the game, was far more how I want Rangers to play in terms of we engaged with our strikers quicker, we got more balls in the box. We looked as if the equaliser was coming. It took a bit longer than I would have hoped because we passed up chance after chance. 76% possession, we started to actually utilise that possession with a wee bit more of a threat. And we had more point of box action. So, but the only stat that really matters, as we know, is the fact of the scoreline. But I actually thought the intent of the team was good, and I've got to praise the players for their efforts to keep going. I thought the subs all played their part, and we could be sitting here bemoaning the fact that we've dropped a couple of points. But losing the goal, even the nature of the goal that came off the studs and trickles by Ivor, it's a blow for us, and we didn't deserve that. We've got to be honest.
I think Barry fans will like the fact he said, I got some of that wrong. I didn't like the look of it. I changed it.
But I think that's the best way to be, just be straight. I think Derek has been straight there. I think the thing that will annoy him was how the penalty against him affected him. You can't let, as I said, there's still 78 minutes to go in the game. There's still a lot of football to be played. Sometimes that happens in football. It's about just dusting yourself down and refocusing again. And it definitely affected Rangers. And then the second half, as I said, I thought the last 20 minutes, that's what Derek obviously wants to see for his team. But I don't want to see it in the last 20 minutes. That's the thing that will annoy him as well. You want to see that the vast majority of the game, certainly when you're playing at home. But you have got to give Hibs credit. I wasn't too impressed with Hibs against Motherwell last week. I watched their game in Europe midweek. But I thought David Gray's setup was spot on. I thought they were so well drilled. They were so disciplined, and they made it really tough for Rangers to get through. But that's what I'm saying. In the final third, Rangers have to be better. You have to have that bit more quality, and I'm sure that's something that he's desperate to bring in.
Charlie, do you think he's going to get it right? There's another 3 weeks in the window. There's money there. I mean, he had a smaller squad at Hearts. Mm-hmm. He played a tighter unit. He made a big squad, but
yeah, it's completely different to Hearts. That's the thing. It's a completely different game at Rangers. You're having to dominate. Look at the control they had in the game. 76% possession, 25 shots, 9 shots in target. Complete control of the game. But at the end of the day, you need to be clinical. Now, when you go to Ibrox and Celtic Park as an away team, you know you're not going to have as much possession. And the best thing that can happen to you is to score early because you give it something to hold on to. And all of a sudden you start to believe in your game plan, the fact you're going to sit in, and you don't mind not having the ball. And the flip side of that, Rangers need to be clinical because then you have to step up and you have to come out and try and go and score, and your game plan's like, oh no, we can't sit in, we need to attack more, and then Rangers can go and get the spaces. But it's not good enough for Rangers at the end of the day. Derek McInnes knows that himself. He's finding out where it is to be the Rangers manager. He's been a Rangers player, so he knows the demands of being at Rangers and what it expects. The fans will take that for so long. We deserve to win. We should have won. End of the day, you need to win. Dominate all you want. You need to win. You need to win the games. You need to be the games where it doesn't quite go for you. You need to win 1-0. You need to grind it out and win 1-0, and that's what needs to happen. So Derek McInnes needs to. He'll know that more than MD though. He knows that the results need to turn because the fans won't take it for much longer.
He summed it up pretty well, and I totally agree with the manager. They were too safe. I want to see people risk sometimes, and they certainly risked the last 20 minutes. But again, I thought they were too safe. They used the easy option in the first half, where I wanted to see a bit more, and that's something that they clearly need to work on. It's like more forward passes into the strikers, get the ball forward a bit quicker. They've certainly done that the last 20-25 minutes, what Derek mentioned there, but you need to do that at the start of the game. Go and put Hibs under pressure. Sometimes it's the way football works. Sometimes you're going to get something goes against you. they got the penalty against them, which again shouldn't have been given, but it was given. But you shouldn't let that affect you. That can't affect you.
I think as well, he's been a bit unlucky with Curtis being unwell or not being at his best. Was it Curtis he mentioned there?
He
Had the
did.
stomach
Yeah,
bug?
yeah.
I think he looked like the one player for the other night there that can go and step up and create. I've not seen a Rangers winger do that for a long time. They've had some quality wingers in there with big names. Olsen, you think of last year. Curtis looked like he can go and create and score, and he's run into a right back in Megwa who's a real good defender, 1v1 defender, and also he's not been feeling too well. So you could argue he's a bit unlucky there. Curtis needs a run of games because I think he's proved he can be somebody, especially for the other night, that can go and create and give Rangers that spark in the final third.
Billy's on saying, Barry, any words about the 20-year-old fullback from Aston Villa who could be a Rangers target, Costa Nedeljkovic?
I've done a bit of homework on him. I don't know too much. I've not seen a lot of him, Paul. He does have a history of injuries. He's had a couple of bad knee injuries.
That's the last thing they need.
So listen,
Yeah.
I'd be lying if I said I knew a lot about him. I don't know too much about him.
A lot of chat about Chermiti. A big bid came in, nearly 20 million just beforehand, and the club said no, and then he got an injury during the game. This is what the manager said at full time.
Well, the bid was rejected, which we're delighted about. You know, it's a big number that came in for him, but we've got plans for Yusuf to be with us this season and be part of something. So delighted with that side of it. Disappointed for the big fella that he has to come off on a stretcher. I thought he was looking bright and running gaps and played with a bit of purpose, and there's no doubts that we missed that, and we're taking a deal with that as part of it. But he's left on a boot and his knee in a brace, and we'll get him scanned tomorrow. So it'd be wrong for me to speculate, but hopefully we get some bit of luck on the scan tomorrow, and he can be back in the Rangers shirt before too long.
And still waiting to hear about that, Barry, because that would be, I mean, you heard earlier on Paul and Derek, Rangers fans, saying take the money, but they're not going to. He wants to build, he says.
Well, obviously the bid that's come in wasn't enough. So I'm sure if whoever it was, Galatasaray, I'm sure if he's going to be fit, just touch wood. It's not a serious one. But as I said, everybody's got a price in their head, and if they meet Rangers' valuation of a player, they'll probably look to do a deal.
Bit of chat as well. He was asked about Diamondi. Is he on his way to Turkey?
I don't know whether. I think there may be some conversations going on about that, but I don't know if there's been an official bid or anything like that. Nothing I can really comment on it, to be honest.
He's expected to travel there to the Super League club Coram, but no word on that yet. So you wouldn't be against that, would you, Charlie? They need to start to clear out some players as well.
Yeah, they do. They need to, especially in the midfield area.
Yeah.
They're heavy in there. So you imagine if a bid comes in for Diamondi, if that's not already happened, then he could be somebody who could look to move on.
Charlie, I know Barry, you've worked with him. If you play him, get motivated the right way, he's a class act.
Again, we were talking about Nico Raskin. I think Deal's better further forward as well. You let him off the leash, he's got a good engine, he'll get about people. I'm surprised that I've seen that, but again, if a club comes in and they're willing to pay a certain amount of money, they'll look to do business. And Deal's come in, his Rangers career's been a bit up and down, but there's definitely a player in there.
Harry's on, a St Mirren fan, saying, hey, what about the Saints, guys? Can we get a word for them? Craig McLeish came in, end of last season, confirmed in the summer as the manager. And, lots of people were saying, well, I think St Mirren could really struggle, maybe St Johnstone as well. But joint top of the table, Charlie.
Yep, good start. 2 clean sheets. They've won 2 games in the league. They've done well in the cup as well. So, yeah, he's done really well. A lot of talk him being a young coach and inexperienced, maybe not ready for the job, but he's had a good start. But he'll know more than MD. It's just a good start. Some tough times ahead, I'm sure, for St Mirren, but credit to him, and that'll give the team a lot of confidence, and that'll give the team confidence in the manager.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, I thought they were going to struggle, but I watched their game against Falkirk, their first game away from home. They thoroughly deserved to beat Falkirk, and then obviously St Johnstone got a good result against Kilmarnock last week. So 6 points, it's a brilliant start for him, and he's totally changed the way that St Mirren play. That's no easy. St Mirren were really back to front. They were very a direct team, so he's definitely changed the way that they play. And listen, that's a kind of start he would have wanted. 2 wins out of 2.
Can you hold on to Killie and Phillips?
Yeah, he's a big player for him. Scored a double last week. There's been a lot of interest in him. He's a Republic Island international as well. So again, listen, if somebody's going to come in and pay big money, I think St Mirren are the type of club that they would, if they meet a valuation, they would do business.
What about Hearts? I see Andrew McKinley, the chief exec, is leaving. My goodness, it's all changed, isn't it, over at Gorgie? But that was
Never seen that coming.
the win. He really needed it, Barry,
I thought,
didn't he? Yeah.
I watched, obviously, Dundee United against Rangers, and I've got to be honest with you, I thought Dundee United were really good against Rangers, certainly in the first half, and I fancied Dundee United to go there and get at least a point, but Hearts needed that. They've been shipping goals for fun. That was a big win for Hearts at the weekend.
Having seen that result, having seen Dundee United this year, that tells me that Hearts are going to be definitely up there next year. They'll not be challenging like last year, but I think they've got I'm much more confident that Hearts will finish third this year than I was before.
And happy for the coach, because it's been such a tough few weeks for him with the Champions League qualifier. Didn't go well.
Really difficult. And then you play Benfica, who are a good side. It's a real hard one. But you've seen things within the games he's played so far, certain things in the team, movements and rotations that you think that would transfer well domestically. And he's beginning to show that now. I know it's only one game, but Dundee United are a solid side. Jim Goodwin doesn't like to concede goals. Basically, sell on defending the box well. And Hearts have went and scored 4 goals. So,
what about that first goal? Was that Renault? Yeah.
Yeah,
the first one. Yeah,
lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Motoring with that one.
Yeah. Was that
Renault motoring? I've been waiting all weekend.
You've
for
been
that
waiting
one.
for that.
It's
You get
terrible.
that wrote down there.
Exactly, in capital letters. And what about Braga? Back on it.
Yep. Listen, different class he was last season for Hearts. He was outstanding.
Yep.
And again, he's one that, I mean, they're talking what, £7-8 million for him. I think they brought him in for a couple of $100,000. So he's I'm sure Hearts will be desperate to keep holding him. But again, if somebody comes in with an offer like that, they would I think they would look to do business.
Which they took over $1.5 million for Kisadidis. Kisadidis left at the weekend. Oh, you're laughing at Charlie. I nearly said that one there. Kisadidis. It's boiling in the studio. If you're watching on YouTube, so there's no excuse, of course. That's unprofessional. Yeah, exactly. The heating system is working here in the middle of summer. Charlie's got the shorts on. That's a good move.
Growing tomatoes under this desk.
Yeah, sure. Your old club, Dundee United. If they were Radio Dundee, they'd be not so happy about it. A good first game, but a bit of a collapse at the weekend.
As I say, it was not a great result at all for them the way they started. But I think they've recruited really well. I like the centre half Forbes. He heads everything out the box. I know Jim Goodwin likes that type of player. I think they've recruited well again, and I think they'll do well this season. I think they'll be okay. They'll
top 6, you think?
I think they could sneak into the top 6 this year, potentially. If not, they'll not be far away. I think Falkirk will struggle this year. That's my get. I think Falkirk have lost Calvin Miller,
they
big player for them.
Yeah.
Barney Stewart.
Yeah.
I think they could struggle.
Still a few weeks in the window, Barry. You'd imagine they'd get a couple of players.
I mean, Charlie just mentioned they're big players that they've lost. They weren't great against St Mirren, but listen, that's not a bad point away to Motherwell at Fir Park. I've really fancied Motherwell to get the 3 points here, so yep, I'm sure they'll look to do a bit of business before the end of the window.
And Dundee, good win for them against Aberdeen.
Do you know what? See the game last Monday against. I was impressed with Dundee.
Yeah,
I thought Dundee really organised. Yep, lost a lot of players as well. So he's had to recruit, and that's a brilliant result. Brilliant 3 points for him.
What about Joe Bevan? Joe Bevan, Dundee, impressive. Yeah. Made the first goal, scored the second. A lot of people talking about him, Charlie.
Yeah, good player. Still early in the season, but I think Stephen Presley's recruited well and they look well organised side that can cause problems. They might be a surprise package this year. I think Aberdeen are going to struggle, Paul. I think they're I think they're going to struggle. I think they're going to be in the bottom 6. I just think that Steve Robinson's style of play won't suit Aberdeen.
In what way?
He's very pragmatic. I'm only going in proof I've saw his teams, which has been Motherwell and St Mirren. They sit back and they look to play in the counter a lot of the time. With powerful strikers, and I don't think the Aberdeen fans will accept that. I don't think it suits the club to play that way, and I think they could struggle in the back it.
And they don't have powerful strikers, do they?
Well, they have Alessandro, who was at St Mirren as well, but Nisbet's not a powerful runner.
No.
So they're kind of mixing up a wee bit, but I think there's too many times teams will go to Pittodrie or they'll play teams and they'll be favourites, And to play that style when your favourites is difficult.
Big budget up there as well.
Aye, big budget. Fans will demand more. I think they could struggle.
Barry, what do you reckon? The Dons?
Well, I watched the game last week when they played Hearts, and I thought Hearts were really comfortable. And then obviously, killer blow, two goals in the last few minutes. Yeah, Stevie Robinson's a good manager. But listen, it'll be interesting to see his first full season, how it's going to work out. But look, they always back the managers up there. They throw a bit of money at players. So it'll be interesting to see. Charlie could be right. They might struggle. I think they'll just get into the top 6.
You always got a warm welcome up there, Barry,
Yeah,
don't you? A long list of Rangers captains who get bellises when you go up to Pittodrie.
Yeah.
I played against you up there when I was at Aberdeen.
Well,
how was he?
Never get a warm welcome up there, that's for sure.
Just wanted the ball constantly.
Did he? Yeah. How did the game go? Can you remember?
We won 1-0.
Huh?
Did you?
I won 1-0. I played centre half. Before the game, our 2 centre halves get injured, and me and Richard Foster stepped in as two makeshift centre halves, and we managed to scrape it 1-0. But I always remember you demanding the ball everywhere on the pitch, over for throw-ins, everywhere. I respected that because he was leading by example by taking the ball everywhere. But I think we won that game. In fact, I may be getting 2 games mixed up.
Okay.
But we would have won.
You beat us the majority of the time, but we won one game 1-0, and I'm going to say it was that one.
Right. I'll tell you what, I'll check it during the break. 0808 17 17 700.
The Go Radio Football Show with Scottish Gas.
It's going to be the League Cup this weekend. The Premier Sports Cup starts on Friday night. The Ayrshire Derby. It's Kilmarnock against Ayr United. Yeah.
Yep, that'll be a big one. Neil McCann will be desperate to get off to get his first win of the season in terms of, well, it's in the cup. I think it's the league.
Yeah.
But Gary Naismith, by the way, done a real good job at Stenhousemuir, getting him promoted into the Championship and got the job. I think he deserves another crack at it. So, Ayrshire Derby. I'll be tuning in, and Charlie Boy's on. You're on air, aren't you?
Oh, my Premier Sports Friday night. Looking forward to that one. I think Kilmarnock will win that comfortably.
Do you think so?
Yeah. I just think that they'll be looking to get a win. Neil McCann and Billy Dodds, and I just think the grass pitch will move it quicker. And Ayr United are, I mean, Gary Naismith's done well and they're steady enough start, but I just think that it'll be a good game, a good fight, but I think they'll win it with a couple of goals.
Ayr United drew, of course, as you know, with Dunfermline 1-1 at the weekend, and Partick Thistle kicked off the weekend, Barry, top of the table.
I never see it. I thought it would have been a close game, but I fancied Livingston. But again, Mark Wilson off to a real good start. I thought Partick Thistle were really good on Friday night. I enjoyed the game and thoroughly deserved their 3 points.
Charlie, it's going to be a great division. It's always tough to come out, but this year, is this going to be the year for Partick Thistle?
Could be. Mark Wilson deserves it. He's done really well with the team. Alex Ray obviously involved in that as well. So they've made a good start, good result. I know they drew again Dunfermline, but I think when the season gets going, Dunfermline are going to grind out a lot of wins and be right up there as well.
Who do you think will win it?
I'm going to stick to what I said originally. I'm going to stay Dunfermline. Dunfermline will get there.
Okay, we'll find out. We've got the table there, but it's too early to go through the whole thing. But Partick Thistle on top on 6 points, Ayr on 4, along with Stenhousemuir and Raith Rovers, and then Livy and Dunfermline. In fact, Livy on 3, Dunfermline just on 2 points. So
I'm going to stay strong on that.
All right. Let's talk. Do you want to talk Celtic, Charlie? Let's go on the line.
Yep.
So, what's the word in Hassan? Is he coming, the Egyptian winger? We'll find out. Let's go on the line. Laurie is here. Hi, Laurie. Good evening.
There he is.
Hey, Paul. Good evening. Good evening, Charlie. Good evening, Barry.
Laurie, how are you doing?
Guys, 2 games into the campaign, I have to say that the 5-point deficit Rangers face in overturning Celtic is insurmountable, even at this early stage. So for you, Derek McInnes, and every Rangers supporter in your fiefdoms of Larkhall, Kilwinning, Whitburn and Bridgeon, the chase is over.
Oh, you've been brave or foolish, Laurie. It's not what you're normally measured. So you've obviously thought about this carefully. I know.
Laurie?
Yeah.
He's never far away though, Laurie. I'll give him that.
He's only in the East End.
I've never seen him. I've never. Don't remember any real shouts he's made that have been
Laurie's
miles
an
off it.
intelligent man, but he's winding me up.
Laurie?
No, I'm not winding anybody up. Barry, in fact, Barry, if I may say so.
Yes.
You and I have got a great rapport and have done for the last few years. And I know you're a modest guy, and I don't want to embarrass you. Barry, I was absolutely flabbergasted that you are not offered that job as Rangers manager, especially after taking 4 points from 6 against Celtic, home and away, and eliminating an icon like Jose Mourinho when Rangers eliminated Fenerbahce. Barry, you will be recalled. I have not the slightest doubt before the end of the season. And I know you cannot reply to that. I understand that.
No, it's nice of you to say, Laurie. Thanks for that.
Yeah. Laurie.
But I won't be replying. Got to be respectful. But listen, Laurie's got his opinion. Laurie knows football inside out. And listen, it's not the ideal start, let's be honest, for Rangers. 5 points. There's still 36 games to go. But you don't want to be 5 points behind at this stage in the season. I never seen it, if I'm being honest with you. I was very confident going to the game yesterday. Albeit I knew it would have been tough against Hibs, but I fancied Rangers to win. But yeah, they need to get their shooting boots on pretty soon, and that needs to start on Thursday night in Europa League. And they need to get through this round.
The club will have to handle this. There's Laurie saying, what should have happened could have happened, but there will be pressure unless they get a win on Thursday and then moving on, because it's 2 games in, 5 points behind.
The Premier
Sports
Cup game and Sunday against St Mirren. But listen, Thursday night's crucial. We need to make sure because that result could have been worse. They could have scored another couple of goals. I know Rangers hit the post through Finlay Curtis in injury time, but they got away with 1-2-1. Now they need to go and show what they're all about on Thursday night and make sure they get through into the next round.
Because if Rangers win all the league games and if Celtic win all the league games, when they meet, if Celtic wins, and I know it's a big if, there'd be 8 points in it late in
I
September.
wasn't, look, see, watching Celtic in Monday night against Dundee, I was thinking there's still a lot of work to be done, but look, they looked a different animal yesterday.
I think that's the beauty of this Celtic team, that they proved it for many a game. When they don't play well, they still win.
Aye. Yep.
And they get a clean sheet and win 1-0. Then when they do, everything all comes together. They go and hammer Kilmarnock, and that's the difference between Celtic and Rangers.
It is so important. I don't know how many games that I came in after and sat in the dressing room and thought we were way off it, but we managed to win 1-0 or 2-1.
Yep.
We would get through it and get 3 points, and it's crucial. When you don't play well, you need to find a way, and that's what Celtic done. I didn't think they were really dominant at all against Dundee, but at the end of it, 3 or 4 weeks, you don't think about the performance. What do you look at? The result. That's the most important thing.
Rarely in a season is there 25, 30 games of free-flowing, attacking, a beautiful football where you go and win. There's so many games we need to grind out and win 1-0, or if you go behind, 1-2-1, score in the last minute, whatever it takes. Yeah, I think that's where Celtic just have the edge right now.
Laurie, what's your view on Arne Engels? Do you remember this time last year when Brendan Rodgers was in charge, and a lot of people, there was a kind of mood, there was, it wasn't briefings from the club, but people were saying, Arne Engels wasn't that great, Austin Trusty wasn't that great. I mean, your team had won the double, but do you remember all that? When there was kind of, I don't know what was going on, it seemed to be briefings. But Arne Engels now, what would you say about him?
Well, here's my reply to that, Paul. I'm a Celtic man through and through, but Celtic, like most clubs, is a selling club, right? I would hate to see Arne Engels go. He shone yesterday like a beacon. However, everybody's got their price, and I would suspect that if any other club comes in with a bid of £25 million, Celtic will accept it. It would be madness not to do so. I've always felt, Paul, that the SPL is merely a pit stop for players to express themselves and ultimately move on and sort their stuff on a bigger stage. The other thing I would like to say, Paul, is that, it might seem outrageous, my comments were writing Rangers off after 2 games, but can I just refresh your memory? I was the guy that told you before it was even in the public domain several years ago that Ange Postecoglou would move on to Tottenham Hotspur.
Yep.
And he did. And I also told you that before Wilfred Nancy was appointed manager of Celtic, that Celtic, if they appointed him, was sleepwalking their way into a disaster.
Yep. Laurie, you did. What's your lottery numbers for this weekend? Charlie.
You like that one, Paul?
So you like that? You like that kind of jibe? I thought he was on from Paddy Power there, saying it's ready to pay out. Well, is there a danger with that? See, if you're a Rangers, you'd be sitting saying, right, come on, let's show them.
Of course,
surely.
there is but that's why it's so entertaining, because every week it can flip, and you're only ever one defeat away or one victory away for things looking good again. But right now, I kind of disagree with Laurie. I said at the start of the show, not just results-wise, based on what you're seeing for both teams, you just don't see Rangers being able to come back. And I know it's possible. There's been bigger. I've been 15 points behind Rangers and overturned it in October. So I know these things are possible to turn back. But just going the evidence we have right now, you just don't see Celtic giving away that lead.
Is that the kind of comment, Barry? And I know you've got a great respect for Laurie. Ross is on actually from LA saying, good to hear Laurie on the programme. But does that rile you up a wee bit?
Listen, I have no problem with people having an opinion and what they think. Like, as a player, Rangers will understand that where they are at this moment in time, 5 points behind after 2 games. I still believe that Rangers will get better, but they need to start as quickly as possible. You can't drop any more points. You can't drop any more points going forward.
I don't see Rangers right now having clean sheets, and I think to win titles, I think Mourinho famously said that that goals win you games, but clean sheets win you titles over a long. And there's nothing truer, because you need to win games by 1 goal. And I don't see Rangers doing that just now. They've not shown any evidence where they can grind a 1-0 out. It feels like they need to score a couple and have a bad first half and respond second half.
That took me by surprise yesterday. I'll be honest with you, I didn't think. I thought Celtic would win at Kilmarnock, but I thought it would have been a lot tougher.
Same.
But the ideal is, it's the start, you get a goal straight away. Yep, I know Kilmarnock had a couple of chances, but see, getting that second goal, and then you could see the energy sap out of Kilmarnock, and then they were in control of the game. And I'll go back to it. I know people going about the new signing, rightly so, because he scored the hat-trick. The big one for Celtic is Carter Vickers. He's key. I know Callum McGregor's key, but Carter Vickers, getting him back, he just brings just a balance to the team, a calmness at the back.
Solid.
He's a natural leader.
Laurie, what about CCV at the back and who at the front? What do you want to say about them?
Well, you know, we've got a good squad of players. What I will say to you, Paul, is that the way things are going at Ibrox, Derek McInnes will be a gunner quicker than you can say Wilfred Nancy.
How long do you think, Laurie? What would you guess if you had to say right now?
Charlie, that first and foremost, they are trailing Celtic by 5 points. Paul, I don't know when the first Old Firm game is. I believe it's early September.
Yes, a bit later.
No more points are dropped. If Celtic beat Rangers in the first game of the season at Parkhead, I think the Bears will be incandescent.
Well,
Is that mid-September, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's later this year.
It's mid-September.
Yeah,
there you go.
I think, or maybe
I'll give you the date in a
23rd
moment.
rings a bell.
Uh-huh.
I think around about the 23rd of September.
Was it as late as that? I wasn't aware of that.
20th.
Well,
yeah.
20th of September, Laurie.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, providing neither team drops any more points, if Celtic beat Rangers, I think that Derek McInnes' position will be untenable.
Is that not a bit
That's
harsh?
my opinion.
Not a bit harsh, a bit early. That's some pressure on Derek McInnes.
That's my estimation, Paul.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's pressure, but that's what it is, Paul. I don't think we're going to sit here many more weekends with Rangers getting defeats, and I think Derek McInnes needs to get the window, get his signings in, and he needs time. But the Rangers fans don't allow you. We've seen it before. They don't allow you time. You need to win games. Derek McInnes said himself along the way, while you're understanding your squad and bringing your signings in, you need to pick up ugly wins, and then you can settle in and play better football and pick up more results. But you don't get loads of time. If there's clubs you don't get time, it's Celtic and Rangers.
He spoke yesterday after the defeat about how to change things.
The only way that's going to change is by getting a winning team regular and playing in a manner which allows us to play with a wee bit more risk. And I just thought we're a wee bit safe. And that's why we go with double wingers on that side. We try to get Diamandi and Romans running that side and try to get more crosses in from the left. We wanted to engage with strikers, and I think by and large we did get a wee bit more of what we wanted, but it's still not enough because we've not got the end result. But I do think that playing in the opposition box more, putting them under more pressure, getting more opportunities at set plays is how we want to be. And I think if we play in that manner more, we get a different outcome.
Barry, he also spoke about a few positives.
I do think the positives from today, I think Big McCanny did really well for his first 90 minutes since the 29th of May. I think Daisuke is showing moments, and obviously we're still trying to bring in another wide right player as well if we can, to share that burden with him. But having a natural left-footed player on that side and somebody who wants to play there, I think will be key for us. So it is important that we try and make signings, but the club was working hard on that, and I think it's important that we come out the window as strong as we possibly can.
Barry?
Yeah, there was some positive for the game, but the end result. Yeah. All that matters is 3 points, Paul, and Derek understands that, and he knows that, and they have to get a win as quickly as possible. And the beauty of being at a club like Rangers, you've always got a game round the corner, and they've got a massive one in Thursday night.
Laurie, when you were on last week, you wished Martin O'Neill all the best. Good news is he was there for the team talk yesterday at the hotel before they went for the game. So I know, like everybody, you're delighted to hear that your favourite manager will be back very soon.
Oh, Paul, I remember being on this programme several years ago, and I had a lengthy conversation with Martin O'Neill. He was at a book signing ceremony at Waterstones.
He still remembers.
And I had a lengthy conversation, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Indeed, Martin, haste ye back.
There you are. That's a good Scots phrase for it, isn't it?
I'd heard he had to go back into hospital though. His stitches came out when he was laughing at the Rangers result.
Oh,
What's going on here?
Barry, what about this? Eh?
I know.
We're back after Laurie, you're barred. Charlie. Laurie, thank you so much. That was good what you said there about, and he reckons that Celtic.
Good night, guys.
Cheers, Laurie. This is the banter, isn't it, Barry? It's going to be this season now.
I don't mind it.
Sure.
Listen, it's riling me up a bit because it's no a great start to the season, but that's you've got to demand. Look, a lot of pressure goes on the managers, but also I keep saying players have to take responsibility as well. Yeah, I get the manager, coaches, picks the team, but when you cross that white line, you need to take responsibility. And there's not enough.
Aye.
I think Derek would agree with that. There's not enough natural leaders, and that's something that he'll be desperate to get.
Yeah, I think you're bang on with that. I totally agree, and that's where the leaders like Fernandes should be a leader in that team. Now, as a centre half, he's probably the main centre half that's going to play. He needs to dig his team out and get a clean sheet there yesterday.
If he's still going to be there, which it looks as though he will, and Derek must be desperate, like all managers. Right, who have I got for the rest of the season? Right, forget about the window.
Yeah,
in a
I
few
think
weeks'
that
time.
managers are just desperate for the window to close.
That's
You've got your squad, if you've got your signings in through the door, and then you know what you're going with. So that it's always up there because somebody could come in with a ridiculous offer for a player that you wouldn't even be considering to sell. But as I said, that's just the way it is at Rangers, that people will have a price on their head. And if they meet that valuation, then they would obviously look to do business. But as a manager, you just want the window closed as quickly as possible.
We're back with more after this.
The Go Radio Football Show with Scottish Gas.
Back here tomorrow night at 5, but still a lot to get through in the next 10 minutes or so in the Go Radio Football Show with our friends at Scottish Gas. Looking forward to who's going to be the Scotland manager. I see there's a bit of chat today, and
Nothing been really said, has
no,
there?
they're now saying Stephen Naismith is the favourite from being a kind of rank outsider.
Surely that's on an intern basis, because you wouldn't say he's somebody. I mean, he done okay in his first. He done well his first season at Hearts, but it's a big jump to take then the Scotland manager with so little experience. I think that intern basis he'll be good because he knows the players, but I think long term there needs to be a more experienced.
When's the
manager in
games?
there.
September?
September into October.
Because obviously a squad will need to get picked, and obviously he's been a coach, he's been involved, so I would agree with Charlie. I think they'd probably put him on interim basis.
I saw some of the favourites, Barry. Your name was in there as well.
Oh, was
What
it?
It
odds?
was, yeah. I can't remember the odds. Not a great one on the.
Would you go? Would you take it?
No, I'm happy what I'm doing.
Have you been asked, Barry?
No.
No. Honestly, you were there as third or fourth favourite. Said Barry Ferguson. So then I thought, well,
I
wait
would
a
like
minute.
to see the list. 'cause
Yeah. Well,
But do you know, I thought somebody would have been put in charge. I know it's a big job, but we need to get a manager as quickly as possible. And I seen also the SFA are holding a big meeting at
that's
their
right.
summit.
Yeah.
So they should be. Because
Ian Maxwell, Craig Mulholland, of course, who used to be at Rangers, wasn't
I
he?
just
He's
think the model's tired.
Yeah.
See the youth model up here. I think it's tired. It needs changed.
do you not think we're just copying countries?
Just do our own thing.
I know.
Just
I
do
think we need to strip it back to our culture. What is our culture? I mean, Lewis went over to Italy, and for what I understand, he stood out for being intense because he's that type of player. I think that's the Scottish way. When we go to these foreign countries, we're intense. Every Scottish player I played with was a hard trainer and gave everything. Worked hard, would give everything in the pitch. I think we need to go back to sort of understanding our culture. And I know I joked about turning up to games with kilts on and having a couple of whiskies before the game, but I mean, get back to who we are and start again and just be us. Stop copying everybody. Just be who we are. What are we? What are we?
Because I believe there is good young players in this country, but for some odd reason we just don't bring enough through. I quite like the relationship that Rangers and Celtic and Hearts have got with the lower league clubs. I do think that will help, but we need to come up with something. I just think the system's tired. It needs changed, but I agree with you. Let's not go and copy a Scandinavian country or whatever. Let's go and do our own thing, have our own blueprint.
Yep. And totally understand what that is, and then we can go and implement it at a young age.
I mean, look at the team sheets yesterday and Saturday. There's very few Scots, and I read something, was it 30 odd out of the 100 and whatever. I should have the stats here, but I wrote them down, can't find it.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's maybe a third. I don't think it's as many as a third of the players. And some of them, I think Celtic and Rangers, did they have two each? There's very few Scots starting for.
And I think when you look at Finlay Curtis, he's not the greatest game at the weekend. He's been a bit unwell. I just hope that he doesn't then go to the next game and he's the easy option, because I find young Scottish players are always the easy option to come out. And whereas a signing or a foreign player, you would more tend to keep them in, because I think Finlay Curtis is somebody that can make a difference for Rangers, and he's a young Scottish talent in the future, can play for Scotland as well.
Andy's on saying a word for Kieran Tierney. He thinks he's back to his best last week and again yesterday. What did you make of him, Charlie?
He's been managed well over the season. I think last year, the amount of times Celtic took him off, and the sports science got a bit of stick, but they've managed him really well. He seems to have the strength right back in his legs. He's not been injured for a bit, and he's a top player. We know what type of player he is, Paul, and he came on the World Cup and showed what he's like going forward. Yeah, he's been really good. The ball he put in the box for Nygren last week was a world class cross, and he's got that ability to. He can defend. He senses danger. He can go forward as well. He's made a real good start to the season.
Barry, you've always rated Kieran Tierney.
Yep, the only issue that Kieran Tierney's had over the last number of years is injuries. There's no doubt that he's a top player. That's the reason why. What did Arsenal pay for him? 25 million quid. And I was always surprised he never played as much, but obviously had these injury problems. But if you got him fit, he's a quality left back.
He sure is. Lewis Ferguson, of course, went to Italy. He spoke about it. I see Billy Gilmer is back and appeared for Napoli.
Yep. Missed him in the World Cup. I thought he would have been ideal. Like, with the warm weather out there, you need guys who can keep the ball and pass it. So that was a bit of a sore one for Billy Gilmer, getting that injury, but good to see him back playing again.
Yeah, he's a top player. We missed him to dominate the possession in the World Cup. Again, another player that's went abroad and showed his intensity. Same with McTominay. There's good Scottish talent in that team. I would just love to see us have a sort of a way of playing and going kind of. I mean, I heard it was Archie McPherson said it was the worst Scottish team at a World Cup.
Yep.
Now, I struggle to disagree with him because we offered nothing at the World Cup, and I played in teams that couldn't get there. So I'm not sitting saying that I've done any better as a player, but we're looking at that World Cup. It was really disappointing.
I wanted to see more. I expected more.
Yeah.
But just again, it was one of the ones where you're getting into the World Cup and you're thinking to yourself, go and make the most of it. I just don't think we did make the most of it.
We don't seem to enjoy our football the way we should. We spoke about it before the programme.
See, when you attach yourself with the outcome in a game, and I've been on the pitch sometimes where you get distracted by the result too much, you forget to take part in the actual game. And we were going into World Cup games actually hoping for a narrow defeat. Now, I'll say that again, we were hoping for a narrow defeat. Now, attaching yourself to a result and attaching yourself to that is no way to take part in a game of football. And I think we do that far too often. We turn up at the World Cup and we don't take care of the game and forget about the occasion, get lost in the game and see where we end up and see what result we get. And I just felt that we were far too not in the moment and present in the games.
Do you feel that, Barry? Not enough young people are allowed to enjoy the football the way we should?
For me, that football's about enjoying it. I know when you get to like a professional stage in the high level, it is about winning. But also you've got to have an element of enjoyment. And I mean, I go and watch some youth football and sometimes a lot of them are not happy to be there.
Yeah. Yep.
Go and enjoy yourself, son.
Yeah.
You're going to make the most of it. You're at a Rangers or you're at a Celtic. Go and embrace the challenge. I feel a lot of them don't look happy.
Do you think it comes for the coaches?
Yeah, I believe our coach far too much, Charlie. I think you can overcoach. I think go and let them enjoy, go and let them express themselves.
Yeah.
I think for a young age, they're training 4 times a night. Let them go and play with their boys' club and their school teams as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think they're on a training pitch and it's monotonous. It's the same. They're drilling them at a young age, and I get you've got to drill them at a certain age when they become closer to full time. But a big part of football for me is enjoyment.
Well, I spoke to somebody recently who's seen a lot of youth football in Spain, and he said the biggest difference between the UK and Spain was he would turn up to watch a game, and just like you're saying there, the players would look like they're not enjoying it, and he'd turn up, and the Spanish players would be laughing and joking and walking out to go and play a game.
Yep.
And that tells you the difference in the mentality of both nice and relaxed, go and play the game and enjoy and
they've not got lives. See, the young players at 11, 12, 13, 14, they're training. I mean, your boy came through the pro youth system, they're training like 4 times a week.
Yep.
And then they're going and they're playing games on a Saturday and a Sunday. And I get you've got to train and you've got to be coached, but there's an element where I just feel there's no enjoyment in it for them.
Yeah.
I want to see young players go and flourish and enjoy their football, and I don't see it enough.
Yeah.
Greg's on saying, what about Darren Fletcher as Scotland manager? Charlie, his name's come up before.
Again, another one. He's not managed anywhere.
That's true.
I mean, it could be an unbelievable coach, Paul, but I think you need experience as
But
a
the
manager.
players would relate to him,
somebody.
wouldn't
I've
they?
been thinking about it. I can't think of somebody off the top of my head. And bearing in mind, I don't think it's a job that will entice a lot of people because of that. I don't think the salaries amazing. So the top end coaches, you've got no chance. But nobody's jumping out at me.
And that's where I think the SFA need to go and get a better Lasco or do a bit of research and something outside the box.
Yep.
Final word, Barry, for Rangers fans. Don't panic. Wait till the end of the window and you think it'll get better.
Yeah, it has to get better.
Yeah.
I think, listen, if you listen to Derek's pressers, he totally understands that, and he'll be working ever so hard to make sure. But like Thursday night's key, Paul. They need to go, first and foremost, win it. I don't care how you win it. Just go and win the game on Thursday.
Charlie, enjoy the rest of the Commonwealth Games. Thank you so much for joining us. Mark
Straight
Guidi,
the other night.
Mark Guidi here tomorrow night along with Andy Walker. See you then at 5.